Hello people and welcome to episode number 2 of the F1 2021 My Team journey. Now, I've had a bit of a stinker. When I went to record episode number 1, it may not have recorded any of the footage. All the footage that I did have was also corrupted. So I've had to go into episode 2 and I'm going to put the race highlights in this video very soon. Firstly, I need to give an introduction to the team. We are Lotus. We've taken the former F1 car brand and we're going to make them into a beast. Dan Ticktum's our teammate and Mercedes is our engine supplier. We've also made a few upgrades already that they're going to come in. You'll see at some point. But yeah, I just want to praise you watch this whole thing because it's actually a very, very entertaining race as we have a personnel department meeting. The personnel department want us to know whether to improve Ticktum's pace or his awareness. And we're going to go with his pace once the video actually keeps going. We thought of either, but pace will help in quali, which is better from getting him grid. Anyway, here is the highlights for Bahrain. Right, let's get cracking on then. We are going to be just looking through some corporate things, looking through the driver perks. We've got not much money to play with. Sorry, I'm a bit ill, so it's not going to be the best quality, my voice. However, yeah, Dan looks positive. He looks like a good prospect. His loudmouth should be helpful in the worst way. If you haven't seen the context behind that little comment, there's videos out there about why he was dropped for the academies and whatnot. Rookie mistake. I forgot to do the activities because I was so focused on just getting into it and making sure I had enough footage to explain what was going on that I forgot to do the activities. So at the start of next episode we'll have activities and we'll go through the messages and everything. But we did it in the end. But it's a sense of just getting it done really. And now we're going to head to the race weekend. Right, we are here in Imola and we are going to be doing practice. Now, typically I wouldn't show practice. They're all the upgrades we have, by the way. 2 downforce, 1 chassis, 2 durability, I think, or maybe even 3 durability. I didn't quite see it quick enough. But I'm not usually going to show practice, but this I am, just to show the pace of the car and what it looks like. Right, so we are here in the first practice program. We are doing the Ers Management, where we basically have to manage the ERS as we go around the track, having none or overtake on to manage the speed properly, just to get a hang of how to manage it in the race. Now this is a very shaky start to the lap. I hadn't raced Imola in a long time, and I've never done it like properly on strict corner cutting before. Like I've done time trial obviously, but that's just pushing the limits of the track, trying to get as quick as possible with the setup. This is different. This is an actual race weekend, and I've never properly done it before, so it's just trying to get a hang of the car. But it's done. It did very well. The first practice program we did pass in the end, but we had to get it on the straight, and now we're going to do the track acclimatization, which I should have done first, but I don't know why I didn't. The first sector is very shaky on a controller with medium traction control. It's very difficult indeed to get right because of the tendency of the curbs, so that's why it's a little bit choppy, it's not consistent, but we end up getting a purple score on that one. As we go into the end of this lap, you can see how it's the improvement over the lap. You see the first sector 3, 4, 5, 6 not being great. You see the middle sector with 1 green, and you see like the final sector is going to be all purple. As we can slowly demonstrate the pace of the car, quicker than Giovinazzi. Cheers, Jeff, for that. But yeah, we look. I'm actually gonna have to kill this man, honestly. But we look better. But practice does have its teething issues. But I'd rather have it in a practice than in qualifying or the race. So firstly, we missed that corner gate completely, and then we turn in just too early and run on the grass ever so slightly and just spin into the gravel.
Rear wing is damaged. You can expect a lot of oversteer unless we bring you in and fix it.
Into practice 2 now, where it is wet. Now the weather conditions did say that the race would start off wet, so I'm using my dry setup in the intermediate conditions to get a feel for it and see whether it can hang in both, because otherwise I'd have to make setup changes, which I really don't want to do for quality in the race, which I'd have to optimise one or the other. I'll obviously prioritise the race, but my quality pace is very good. However, the car handled really well in the wet, in the intermediate conditions, I should say. The first lap wasn't great, with the second one through the first sector alone we're half a second up, and just as we adjust to the conditions more, we get quicker and quicker and quicker. Yeah, the overall pace of the car around this track was very good. I'd say slightly higher than what I would have expected, but at the end of the day, I've been able to outperform the car over a 1 lap pace as opposed to race pace. I do struggle a little bit, but that's just me in this game. I can't really manage my tyres too well. But at the end of the day, that's something I've got to learn within myself. But this car is very, very promising indeed. Lotus, we can build something. But yeah, we managed to get about 7 to 8 tenths on our best, and we were only just behind Ricciardo. Now we managed to get 600 points and 7 development boosts off of that. 1500 resource points as we go into Monaco as a minimum to make some serious upgrades heading towards that race. The next race is Monaco, because Portimao and Spain have decided to leave off the calendar. It's a 16 race calendar, so they're not on the calendar this season. They will possibly be back next season. I'm not too sure whether I do a 23 race or a 16 or even a 10. Also, let me know if you want me to do a co-op career mode, because I want to do one, but I don't know who to do it with. Whether I should do it with someone on my same skill level, or subs, what have you, I'll find something. But yeah, we're getting good acclaim boosts. We're we're doing everything right, basically. That's the main positive here. As we head towards qualifying now, the loading screens. We're hopefully gonna put in a good showing and get into Q2. So let's head to qualifying now. Into qualifying we go then, and there is a slight possibility of rain, but it's mainly just clouds as we start our first flying lap in Q1 here. Now I've just gone out on this set of tyres as sort of a banker, and we've actually got a driver in the way. It's going to be Nicholas Latifi coming out of the pit lane and not deciding to get out of the way, which is a bit baffling considering we're on a fast lap in hot lap mode, pushing like a wildfire, closing up to him as well. That was beautifully done, by the way, a little corner that I did. But Latifi's just not getting out of the way, and it was really frustrating me. But by the end of the lap, we did get him out of the way, and we did set a somewhat competitive lap time, or what I thought was competitive. We come across the line, and it's a 1:16.5. I couldn't quite see that, so the audio's going to be a little bit more louder there. But we're actually a tenth slower than our teammate, which is not ideal under any circumstances. We shouldn't be losing to Daniel Tickton, or Dick Tantrum, as I like to call him. Raikkonen's last, below Mazepin, and when I saw that I couldn't believe my eyes. But we're going to go out now towards the end of our second lap. This is to get out of Q1. Now the footage was slightly choppy over this whole thing, so whenever I have a sudden cut or whatever, it's not clear. It's because the footage I found there was a bit choppy. But we come through there, nail the chicane coming into the third sector. Absolutely nailed the chicane, nothing wrong with that at all. No track limits extended, nothing. Coming into the last two corners, which if you can get right, you can find a lot of time. You get it wrong, you're in the wall.
30 seconds left in the session.
Time doesn't matter, Jeff, because we're not going to get another lap in anyway with the ERS we've got on the tyre deficit. We come across the line and it's P12, splitting Russell and Ocon, and Vettel's just behind Russell. So as we finish our lap, we are P12, and as we come to finish the session, Tickton, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Schumacher, Latifi and Mazepin knocked out. Tsunoda gets through, Stroll gets through, and Russell in the Williams also gets through, as both Alfa Romeos are knocked out. Heading into Q2, and we started on a 1:16 flat, which is a good lap time. We're below Stroll. Bottas and Perez are both in the danger zone, as Russell is last. But Tsunoda is behind us, whilst Gasly is 7th, and that's not a good look for him. But we're going to go out on our second lap and hopefully put in a better response than the first one. We're already a 10th up coming into the third sector, towards the end of the second sector. That's the corner you're going to spin on usually around Imola, and we managed to nail it somewhat. We're in 3/10 up, going into this corner, going into the chicane, which we nail once again, absolutely fine. And we're going towards half a second up, looking to push on, trying to get into Q3 for the first time in this Lotus, I believe. Oh, where did we qualify at Bahrain? I don't quite remember. But looking to try and get out of Q2, pushing on towards the line. DRS is going to be activated at the earliest point. We come across the line, and it takes about an hour and a half to find out where you are. We are P12 on the grid, so we set a similar lap time to what we did in the first session and got the exact same position. Behind Ocon, we're ahead of Vettel on the grid. Perez, Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen obviously get through. Alonso through. There's no real surprises there. You got the typical 8 that you would expect, and then Alonso and Gasly are like the better qualifiers. Seb getting lower than me is quite surprising, but we're going to head on towards the race. Wish us luck.
Welcome once again to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari. The clue's in the name. This is very much Ferrari home turf, and the locals will be out in force today to support their team in what we hope will be a magnificent spectacle of motorsport. On then to the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Unlike most Formula One circuits, Imola is driven anti-clockwise and offers our drivers today just over 3 miles of glistening wet asphalt to negotiate. It's made up of a roughly equal split of 9 right-hand turns and 10 left-hand. Watch the drivers on the way into turn 16. Managing their speed there will be crucial, with the rain only adding to the difficulty of that downhill braking section, which then of course leads into the track's longest straight, though no DRS there today of course. It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are three big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Hamilton, Lando Norris and Ricciardo, Sainz, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly, Ocon, Bird, Yuki Tsunoda and Stroll, Russell, Giovinazzi, Daniel Ticktum and Kimi Räikkönen, Mick Schumacher, Latifi, Mazepin and Sebastian Vettel starts from the back of the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
So as you saw by the grid there, Seb actually took a grid penalty towards the end. We're going to take some fuel out of the car so we can run light as possible without having to do some fuel saving. I don't believe that'll be an issue. We run slightly over. But yeah, we're going to get off the line here. 5 red lights. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And it's the world's worst start you will ever see, ever. Yeah, we've gone from P12 and we're down in P16 already, with Russell on our outside. Raikkonen's also in there. And we're going to try and dive up the inside of Russell, who's going to go around our outside, and Dan Ticktum's going to up our inside, and it's a fucking issue. We've dropped 4-5 places off the start.
There's been an incident on track resulting in loose debris. Fortunately, the marshals have managed to clear it up in time, and there are no plans for a safety car right now.
Okay, that's good. At least there's no safety car this early, otherwise it'd be a massive detriment to us as we dive up the inside of Dan Ticktum. Russell's been cautious. We managed to nick up the inside of him as well. Yes, he did turn in on us, and we were lucky to get away with no damage. However, we come away from it. And it was an awful start. So now we've got to rectify. We've got to fight our way back up in a car that is somewhat competitive, but we know we can do damage in. Carrying on with the rest of this lap, we're going to go through the tight, twisty bit, which isn't good for the car, as you can run like half a second too early on the throttle and you just spin, you pivot round. As we go into the chicane where we find a lot of time, we've caught the inside curb and we nearly spun round, and we've spun on we've like had a tank slapper on the exit, which isn't good as well. Carrying on towards the end of the lap then, closing on Giovinazzi and Tsunoda. Both drivers were behind us at the start and they're ahead of us now, which is never good, so we want to fight our way back up. I reckon with a better start we could be in the hunt for P10 or 9 already, which is really good. But at the end of lap 1 we seem alright for pace, we don't seem like the worst. Yeah, can't complain too much. We made up the places that we lost on Russell and our teammate. Up the inside of Giovinazzi at the time when he gave us the room and we nipped in, did force him wide a little bit, but to be fair it was our track to take as he just left us to it. So I'm never going to say no to that as we cut now to lap 4, closing in on Yuki Tsunoda.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
And this is where we make the tyre change onto intermediate tyres.
Okay, copy that.
The weather has dried up enough and the wets are no longer required. So the intermediates are going to take us, hopefully, I'm praying inside at this point, and I think later on in the race as well, to lap 16-17 time. It may be even a bit longer so we can pit straight onto the mediums and go to the end of the race instead of having to do hards or...
ETA on this rain clearing up is about 10 minutes, so just keep your concentration out there.
So 10 minutes at minute 20 lap time, that is about 15 laps. So the ETA says we're going to get...
Exit now. We're racing on the exit.
The ETA...
Exit now.
Oh my god, Jeff, fuck off. the ETA is going to mean that we are going to come out around lap 20, which gives us about 12-13 laps. Oh, as we have a massive tank slapper coming out of the pits, nearly going over the line, receiving a penalty. As Dan comes in for his stop. Jeff doesn't want to shut up, does he? As we're coming around this corner now, but yeah. Oh, there's an incident ahead. It's Kimi Raikkonen. Now, stupid me forgot to remove the thing at the bottom, so the replay's not authentic. But yeah, Raikkonen did come off there. He had a bit of a tank slapper and he's come into pit. Whoa, we nearly went into the wall there. Alonso has an issue which will play into our hands, as he's the guy, one of the people that we want to be racing in the Alpines. Perez sets the fastest lap. So we're on to lap 7 now. Team radio.
Left of this rain, then we think it's going to dry up. 10 minutes. Inters seem like the fastest tyre for now. We're leading our teammate by 34.2 seconds.
Honestly, this man comes up with some information from us. I mean, there's a yellow flag behind us, so there's probably some sort of issue going on. Yuki Tsunoda is out of the race. Let's have a little look at this. He's just pulled over to the side. That means mechanical issue, and that is massively beneficial to us. That is one less car we have to fight with for points. As we come back to the action, as Alonso is going slowly, that engine issue really hasn't helped him. So we dive up the inside, but we brake far too late. We go deep into the corner. Alonso's going to stick it round up the inside. We're going to hang around the outside. What is this next corner is going to be? We're on the inside, we're on the outside for this corner. We are fractionally ahead, so it's our corner to take, and we are going to turn, and Alonso is good enough and wise enough to yield. If that was Max Verstappen, I was ending in a wall, let's put it that way. As we take that corner again, absolutely fine and cautiously. As we now pursue onto lap 10, we have a wing fault. Now this was a DRS fault, at the but I didn't know at the time. So when I'm asking the vehicle condition, I get the best responses. I get the best responses in regards to tyre condition. Whilst yes, the tyres are in good nick, and you'd expect them to be, the wing isn't, and I wanted to know what was going on, and Jeff wasn't giving me any useful information, which really got on my nerves. But it was a DRS issue while DRS was disabled, so it was actually perfect, because it actually managed to rectify itself by the time the DRS was enabled again, so it made overtake slightly easier towards the end of the race. Well, about the same as they would usually be. Now, Gasly, Ocon and Stroll are sort of embroiled in a little train here, coming to the end, coming into the middle of lap 11, so we're still in the rain period, obviously, and just pursuing these guys, trying to get into a little position, maybe for an overtake later in the lap. These two are battling quite hard, and slowing each other up, which allow us to catch up a little bit. But going through the track, we've actually raced really well. Kept our line right. Ooh, got a bit close to Stroll there. Christ almighty, I got a bit adventurous on the brake. But yeah, we've pushed on. We've done well. We've made up the position we needed to. We gained the gap on Alonso, which I think was crucial to our end result here. As we come out of the final corner, we get a good exit. We had to dance the car, walk it onto the curb just to make sure we could get the best exit possible. And now we're going to draw into the slipstream of Lance Stroll as he draws into the slipstream of Esteban Ocon. However, he's not got the car pace to get past Ocon. We have the car pace to get past Stroll. He's going to squeeze us to the inside. We're going to dive up his inside, push him off a little bit, and we're going to take P11 off of his hands brilliantly. Thank you, Jeff, for the compliment. That's the first useful bit of advice you've given me all race, you stupid fuck. As anyway, we got to the end of lap 12, where we were actually making inroads on Ocon now, which is very, very good for our race, because it means we get into the points, which is, every point is handy. As we close up to the back of him, we're going to put ERS into overtake mode. We're going to draw into his slipstream. We've got the Mercedes engine, which is more powerful. We haven't got a better chassis or more downforce than the Alpine, but we do have the better engine. As we're going to go to the right, fake him over and dart onto his inside. He's going to try and squeeze us, but we're going to go up the inside. A bit like Ricciardo against Vettel in 2014 at Italy. We have taken the place off of Esteban Ocon and up into P10. Brilliant move, that. Very, very brilliant. Jeff's giving me no fucking compliment. This man actually makes me want to cry. Very, 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 very solemn tears. as we come through. Oh, tank slapper on the exit of turn 2, going through turn 3. Showing good pace towards the end of the rain period, but around this point we are deciding what tyres to go on. Next in whether to do mediums or 2 softs.
A new strategy is available on the MFD.
Speaking of the strategy, Jeff is going to input his idea, and it's soft.
Got that confirmed.
We're not doing that. I think I want to do the mediums to the end of the race because we don't have the car pace around this time, especially with an engine fault that did develop. Just wear and tear on the engine because I haven't changed it out between practice. But DRS is enabled. That's usually our gauge to go in and pit. However, it seemed too wet at the time to pit.
MFD for a new strategy option.
Jeff does like popping up at the worst times, doesn't he? He does like that double soft strategy, but we haven't got the pace and we'll probably lose out as a result. And
Medium tyres at the next stop.
yeah, there we go. We've just confirmed that we want the medium tyres at the next stop.
Okay, we can take you this lap.
And we're just letting them know that we're coming in this lap to pit, as everyone else is coming into pit for the slick tyres. But it'll be interesting to see what people do. Gasly's gone onto the soft compound of tyre. Stroll has gone onto the softs. We're going onto the mediums at the end of the race, and I'm worrying at this point that we've made the wrong strategy call. Sebastian Vettel also made the same call as we did. So he's the man to be looking out for the remainder of this Grand Prix now, with 14 laps to go. Or 15, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, 15 laps to go. As we now battle with Lance Stroll, who's managed to catch us in the 2 laps since on soft tyres. We've been trying to defend as best we can, but with less grip. And therefore less fast tyres. It is a tall order. And here we go on to lap 20 now, where I think this is where we end up losing out.
Caution.
As there's a caution right in front of us. As Stroll does manage to get round our outside, as there is a caution ahead of us, but I'm not too sure why. In the end, I don't think I checked it. But we're still going to stick on the back of Lance Stroll. We've got Alonso right behind us. Now this is someone that had an engine issue at the start, but he's still got faster tyres than us, and he's got a better car than us overall, so he's obviously going to be quicker. As he tries to dive up our inside in that corner, that's a silly move. We have to go off the track in order to evade a collision. So he tries to stick it round the outside and actually does manage to make the move stick. As we managed to exceed track limits.
We need to stay on form.
We managed to exceed track limits by not going off the track. That was seriously impressive, as was that move by Alonso. It was fucking amazing. And we'll probably have a team radio from him if I decide to include it. As we dive up his inside, actually, going towards the end of the lap. Brilliant overtake from us. Not as good as his one, but it was a very good overtake nonetheless. As we push on to lap 21 now, as Carlos Sainz pits. Which I don't actually understand why he's had to do that. He might have gone off the track earlier. I think that's what the yellow flag was for. I think he crashed off. But Alonso is anyway coming back at us into turn 1. Well, he's looking at a move, drawn up behind. And now we're going on to lap 21 where he's round our outside and we're defending from him. As Valtteri Bottas is out of the session. It's a mechanical failure. However, my lazy arse decided not to look for it. And also, Jeff, you fucking twat, stop interrupting me. However, the weather has now cleared up, which is very, very good. Better for driving, better for slick tyres. The temperature's going to warm up. With lower tyre temperatures, it should mean tyre wear is less of a factor for us. At this stage of the race, anyway, comparatively to everyone else who's on softs, and whose tyres are likely dropping off as we're getting into the optimum point of view for our tyres. Saying that, Esteban Ocon is going round us. As Alonso, I presume, has pitted by this point. Ocon has gone round our outside, who's managed to catch up. And Vettel is now the danger man to worry about. He's 8.6 seconds back and we're on the same strategy. So we've just got to be wary of each other. And make sure we both get to the end on the superior strategy, I believe it is. Stroll and Ocon are ahead of us. However, Ocon has darted into the pit lane. So Alonso must have pitted because Ocon's gone in this lap. Gasly's also gone in, so he's another driver to look out for. With his pace and his track record, it'll be very, very interesting to see how he does. As we dart left and then right through the first section of corner. racing well like normal. You know, run of the mill once you get lap 26 or 27. However, now we've got Mick Schumacher. Now, he came out of the pits as a lapped car.
Concerns at the moment. Just focus on the driving.
We've lapped Schumacher, and he's going to come at us trying to unlap himself because he's on the faster tyres. Yet it's stupid for him to do so because we are 7th in the race. He shouldn't be trying to overtake us. However, he's going to have DRS. We're actually going to have to defend from a Haas. And my brain can't comprehend that. As he's going to try and go round our outside. We're going to... we have every right to squeeze him because he's not racing us. So we're just not going to acknowledge that he's there. As we drift through turn 3, that's a sign that our tyres are going off. As Pierre Gasly is going to prove that once and for all by catching up to us like a rocket ship. And he's going to overtake us going down this straight. I've really accepted it. I'm just going to save my battery once I realise he's going past us. And I'm going to try and stick in his slipstream as comes across fairly dangerously. There's the engine wear. As the only person we have to worry about now is Sebastian Vettel. Going into the last 2 laps of the race.
Some information on Ocon. They are out of the race.
As Esteban Ocon is out. And it's a driver error. He's got on the curb, he's spun off and he's hit the wall nose first. He's damaged the suspension and is out of this race. As we cut to lap 31 here, Seb is right behind us. He's only a couple of tenths behind us. He's managed to catch us well as we haven't managed our tyres well. Thought we were going to make a mistake, but we didn't in that final scenario. We're just going to try and defend with everything we've got. Try and slow him up as much as we can and get better exits. That's all you got to do to defend. But right now it's not working because he's stuck right behind us. So Schumacher's still keeping up with Seb, which is baffling to me that he's managed to keep up that well. We're trying to slow him down as much as possible and not spin where Ocon spun. As we go into the final lap of the race. As Jeff has reiterated, as Seb has forced his way up the inside in a place that he shouldn't be darting. He's darted up the inside. He's fully committed himself. We've made our defensive move. May have been slightly dangerous, but we had every right to as we were in front. As Schumacher's right behind us, and he's causing us issues. He dives up our inside to make an overtake as we are taking the corner like normal, which is very, very silly indeed from him. He shouldn't have done that as we enter the final stages of this race now. Max Verstappen has won the Imola Grand Prix. He won in Bahrain, so he's now got maximum points, or as many maximum points as possible he could have. As we dive up the inside of Seb right at the end of the race and reclaim position 8 for ourselves. We drift out of the last corner. Poor exit. Tyres are dead. No ERS, but we had DRS just to pull us away. And that's the end of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix.
It's a performance that our Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix winners can be justifiably proud of. And I'm sure there'll be celebrations tonight. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves. Let's have a quick look at how the driver standings have changed. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I have to say Sebastian Vettel certainly caught my eye during today's race. Incredible driving.
Let's move on to the constructors. Red Bull pull further ahead in the standings. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend from them as they fight their way towards the top. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So there you have it, episode number 1, or technically 2, of this My Team career. But I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Next episode should be out as soon as I can record it. But for the meantime, we are P8 in the standings. Doing well, beating the Ferraris, which is quite surprising. But anyway, yeah, I will see you in the next one very soon.